Hello everyone, we are Group 6, and today we'll discuss international human rights. First, what are human rights? Human rights are the basic entitlements that belong to every person simply because they are human. They apply to everyone, regardless of race, sex, nationality. These rights cover many aspects of life, including the right to life and liberty, freedom of opinion and expression, and the right to work and education. They are not only moral principles, but also legal norms protected by international law. Human rights play a vital role in maintaining the dignity, equality, and freedom of individuals in society. In today's era of globalization, the protection of human rights has gone beyond national borders and become a shared goal of the international community. Governments, organizations, and citizens around the world are increasingly aware that respect for human rights is the foundation of peace and sustainable development. This report explores several key aspects of human rights in the modern world. It examines the evolution of human rights in the modern era, their connection with the Sustainable Development Goals (SDGs) and environmental, social, and governance (ESG) principles. It also highlights the essential role of the United Nations in protecting human rights, the contents and implementation of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, and the active contributions of global human rights NGOs. Together, these perspectives provide a comprehensive understanding of human rights at the international level.
Human rights in the modern era. Ladies and gentlemen, the development of modern human rights is rooted in the wisdom of philosophers like John Locke and Jean-Jacques Rousseau. Locke's concept of natural rights, life, liberty, and property, and Rousseau's social contract theory laid the theoretical foundation, asserting that state power derives from citizens' consent. A pivotal turning point came in 1948 with the founding of the United Nations, making human rights one of its four core pillars. The UN elevated human rights from a national issue to a global agenda. Today, digitalization brings new challenges. Unauthorized data collection violates privacy, and online hate speech like cyberbullying undermines dignity. These call for updated international regulations. Notably, human rights protection has expanded beyond individual rights to collective rights and the right to development, closely aligned with global initiatives such as SDGs and ESG. Safeguarding human rights is both a historical mission and a modern imperative.
Human rights as core foundation and key goal. There are 17 goals aligned with economic, social, cultural, civil, and political rights in international human rights documents. 1. SDG Human Rights Correlations. A. SDG 1. No poverty and economic rights. UN recognizes the right to adequate standard of living as a basic human right. This goal eradicates extreme poverty while material assistance. This goal ensures equitable, inclusive quality education for India's free primary education policy. 2. Human rights guiding role in SDG implementation. Human rights embed a people-centered focus in SDGs. Unlike traditional growth-centric models, they emphasize equitable, inclusive development that leaves no one behind. The elderly, persons with disabilities, ethnic minorities. For example, in advancing SDG 8, decent work, governments must uphold the right to work and right to fair pay, guaranteeing workers safe workplaces and equal pay for equal work. Human rights and ESG, environmental, social, and governance. In recent years, ESG has become a key standard for measuring how responsibly and sustainably organizations operate. Among the three areas, the social and governance parts are most closely linked to human rights. The environmental part affects human rights indirectly. Problems like climate change and pollution threaten people's rights to life, health, clean water, and food. When companies reduce emissions and use resources sustainably, they help protect the right to live in a healthy environment. The social part directly reflects human rights. IT includes fair labor practices, workplace safety, gender equality, and respect for diversity. Companies respecting workers' rights not only fulfills moral duties but also improves motivation and public trust. The governance part focuses on transparency, accountability, and ethics. Good governance prevents corruption. Respecting human rights through ESG benefits both companies and the society. Businesses that follow these principles gain stability, attract investors, and earn community support. Ignoring them can cause legal trouble and damage reputation. UN Guiding Principles on Business and Human Rights on Human Rights PES emphasize that all companies must respect human rights and fix any harm they cause. In short, ESG turns human rights values into real actions, protecting the planet, respecting people, and ensuring fairness. By doing so, companies help create a more sustainable and just world for future generations.
The United Nations, or UN, plays a leading role in promoting and protecting human rights around the world. It was created in 1945, after World War II, based on the ideas of peace, equality, and respect for human dignity. According to the UN Charter, one of its main goals is to protect the rights and freedoms of all people, no matter their race, gender, language, or religion. At the heart of the UN's human rights system is the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, UDHR, adopted in 1948. It sets out basic principles of freedom, justice, and equality that apply to everyone, everywhere. Even though it's not a law, it inspired many important treaties, such as the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights and the International Covenant on Economic, Social, and Cultural Rights. Together, these are known as the International Bill of Human Rights, forming the foundation for international human rights law today. The Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights, OCHR, helps countries follow these standards and reports any violations. The Human Rights Council, created in 2006, reviews each country's human rights record through a system called the Universal Periodic Review, UPR. This process encourages dialogue, accountability, and cooperation among nations, helping them learn from each other and make real improvements. Other UN agencies also support human rights in different areas. The ILO protects workers' rights and promotes fair labor conditions. The WHO promotes the right to health and access to medical care. And the UNESCO supports education, science, and culture as tools for peace. Meanwhile, UN Women works globally for gender equality and women's empowerment, giving women and girls a stronger voice in society. Of course, the UN still faces many challenges such as political pressure, lack of resources, and limited power to enforce its decisions. However, even with these difficulties, IT remains the most important international organization for promoting peace, justice, and respect for human dignity. In conclusion, the UN has transformed human rights from an ideal into a universal value shared by all nations. Its work continues to inspire progress and cooperation, helping to build a world based on peace, equality, and respect for every human being. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights, or UDHR, is a landmark in international human rights, adopted by the UN on the 10th of December, 1948. It was the first global document to define the basic rights and freedoms of all people, forming the foundation of modern human rights law. The UDHR has a preamble and 30 articles, covering two main categories. The first is civil and political rights, such as the right to life, liberty, and free expression. The second is economic, social, and cultural rights, like the right to work and education. Together, they reflect the idea that all humans deserve dignity and equality. Although the UDHR itself is not legally binding, it inspired major treaties like the ICCPR and the ICCR, which make those rights legally enforceable. It also influenced later agreements protecting women, children, and other vulnerable groups. Today, its principles appear in most national constitutions. The UN, through the OCHR and the Human Rights Council, monitors global progress, while NGOs such as Amnesty International and Human Rights Watch expose violations. Challenges still exist. Some countries limit rights in the name of sovereignty, but the UDHR remains a global symbol of freedom, justice, and human dignity for all.
And then let's go to human rights NGOs. Her NGOs are a crucial force in grassroots human rights protection. The first one is Amnesty International. It was founded in 1961 and is based in the United Kingdom. Today, it has over 10 million members worldwide and works to end the death penalty, stop torture, and protect freedom of speech. The next one is Human Rights Watch, or HRW. It was founded in 1978 and is based in New York, USA. HRW focuses on issues like armed conflict, discrimination, climate change, and the rights of children and LGBT people. Another important group is Human Rights First. It's a nonpartisan organization based in the United States. The group promotes democracy, fights injustice, and supports the rights of refugees and immigrants. Next is the International Federation for Human Rights. FIDH.it was founded in 1922 and is based in Paris, France. It works to protect all human rights, civil, political, economic, social, and cultural through global investigations and legal actions. Finally, we have the World Organization Against Torture, or OMCORT.it was founded in 1985 and is based in Geneva, Switzerland. OMACT is the largest global coalition working to end torture, executions, and enforced disappearances. In conclusion,
human rights are the cornerstone of peace, equality, and justice around the world. From early ideas of Locke and Rousseau to the UN's global frameworks, they've become universal principles that guide how nations protect dignity and freedom. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights remains at the heart of the system, shaping news and setting global standards. Through agreements like ICCPR and ICESCR and initiatives such as SDGs and ESGs frameworks, the UN continues to link human rights with sustainable progress and fair governance. Organizations like Amnesty International, Human Rights Watch, and FIDH carry this mission towards defending victims, exposing abuses, and holding power accountable. Protecting human rights is everyone's responsibility. By upholding them, we build a world rooted in peace, fairness, and lasting progress for generations to come.
Finally, this is our reference. Thank you, everyone. Our report is over.